I'm going to say Belal's going to revert back to his own ways. But Belal got a little beside himself. I think that's fair to say, right?
With that Jack fight?
I mean, he thought he was Canelo. He thought he was Bud Crawford. He's going to return back to Batman, right? I've used this analogy so many times.
Go ahead and break it down for ones that don't understand.
I consider Belal Muhammad to be virtually Batman. No special powers, no special ability. You think about speed, you think about power, you think about quickness, you think about best wrestling, you think about best jiu-jitsu, best boxing, best kickboxing. I don't know if he's the best Muhammad in his family. But here's the thing I will say. If you have a deficiency or a hole in your game, Belal's one of the greatest at exploiting that hole in deficiency. And Jack Della.
Oh, don't be the best Muhammad in the family, and that's like the truth like about him. What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Brick Brother Podcast. Y'all already know it's been a crazy, crazy weekend, man. We got a new welterweight champion. You know, we're going to be talking about how Islam made Jack cry and losing his title. We also going to be breaking down, man, what happened with Dillon Danis at the UFC being banished to foreign lands. And as well, you know, y'all already know your boy becoming Buckgomedov, man. I'm going off to RAF, man, and about to go down with Pat Downey, you know what I'm saying, this in about a few weeks. So we're going to talk about all that in this episode. So make sure y'all lock in. But before y'all do, make sure y'all subscribe, y'all like, and y'all share, man, because the brick's going up. Let's get it.
All right, as you just mentioned, we have a new welterweight king. Islam Makhachev dominates Jack Della Maddalena. Just your initial thoughts.
Oh, my God.
Were you surprised by anything in that fight?
I mean, well, you know, I called it, right? I really did call it in our last podcast that we had, and we knew Islam was going to immediately go in there and use his takedowns, use his shots. But I'm not going to lie, you know, Islam wasn't scared on the feet either. You know, he was throwing good combinations, good head kicks as well, trying to chop him up there against JDM. And JDM was putting himself in positions where, you know, he was just very defensive, right? And I ain't even talking about with the shots. I'm talking about just defensive with the striking and doing that real high guard.
The guard, yeah.
And then, you know, Islam would time it every single time where JDM, he'd throw them hands up, you know, and obviously he impeding his vision. Islam would get underneath them hips, bro, get him down. But JDM just couldn't get up, you know. And look, I know that struggle, you know what I mean? I know that pain. I know that hurt, right? Being on your back, you feel like you can't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? But I really felt like JDM just didn't know how to make that fine adjustment, right? And like he just conceded to those takedowns. So every time he got taken down, you see him trying to do the octopus, you know what I'm saying? The roll, like, look, bro, I understand Craig Jones, like, you know, he's the wizardry at that stuff, right? But you just not at that level, you know? So I really felt as if JDM really should have made the switch where, you know, instead of keeping his hands up to kind of keep that guard, fuck it, man, I'm going to keep my hands down a little bit because I know the initial shot, if I get taken down, I'm not going to get back up to my feet. Now, do I risk the potentially get knocked out? Maybe, right? But that's where the head movement comes in, you know what I mean? So if I was JDM, bro, like I would have really kind of let them hands go. But Islam really put on that boy, Jack. You seen him in the 5th round. Then they're about to cry out there, you know what I'm saying?
He looked a little emotional, I ain't gonna lie.
I looked my ass, boy.
He looked a lot emotional, okay?
I seen some tears come out, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, he worked years for that title, I get it.
Man,
you know you're going to lose. It's a big crowd. You talked all that shit, too.
But
it was, you know, they're a little heated. No, I just think that what surprised me most from that performance, Jack didn't have any moments in the fight. There was nothing that I could really go forward and say, man, I feel like he had a good account for himself. He kind of just got shut out. If you look at the footwork, he was so stationary. He didn't throw a lot of his weapons out. He wasn't circling. You know, I just was surprised that, you know, in MMA, I think a lot of people don't understand that when you talk about the sport of wrestling versus MMA wrestling, it is a vastly different thing. And I was surprised that that Jack Della Maddalena wasn't able to manage distance. Distance is the difference in MMA wrestling because when you're doing traditional sport wrestling, you can shoot from much further. There's no consequence. You know, you kind of prepare yourself and launch at people. You have these explosive, you know, sometimes further away shots, and you can get away with that. But the issue in MMA, you have knees, uppercuts, elbows, all these things that can happen. Submissions if your neck gets extended. And if you look at somebody like Dariush, he has really good timing and distance control to get in and mitigate that. That's why you don't see him getting caught on the way in. For JDM, he didn't throw anything out, and he didn't use his feet effectively to make Islam have a hard time. The first shot that Islam took, I feel like he kind of just launched out of nowhere. He kind of extended himself.
Right,
and
right,
JDM
right.
had his hands so high, as you mentioned, he wasn't able to react with getting his hips into play and starting to whizzer and to crossface and to do things. It was just easy money. And then by the time you got to the third round, Islam starts to figure out the distance, and he takes a shot. He pulls JDM to him, and easy shot, easy double leg. Now, you mentioned on the groundwork. As we've talked about before, Islam Makhachev does an amazing job of using his crossface or having top pressure with also figure four-ing the leg. That's when he tried to go to the octopus guard. He's figure four-ing the leg, so he's taking his legs and hips out of play. He's also controlling the top. So for JDM to not really be proactive instead of reactive and really working the distance control and making sure that Islam had things to be wary of, I think that was the major difference of the fight. So I was just really surprised. You mentioned it before. I want to give you credit that you didn't think that focusing on jiu-jitsu, working with guys like Craig Jones, was the most advantageous. Honestly, I thought not just working wrestling defense, but working your footwork could do you a lot of favors in that fight. Could do him a lot of favors in that fight, excuse me. So that's what I was surprised by. Yeah, back to you.
No, it's a sad day for the welterweights. Like I said, bro, the Booty Warriors have officially taken over, man. We got Islam. But look, let's, because we're going to get into it, right?
Sure,
what I mean? But before we talk about the beautiful ladies, man, and they fight, we just going to keep it on the welterweight division.
Sure.
But, with Islam being champ and, you see the other two now in the pretty much title contention, right? You got Prates and Michael Morales, which I think is two big deals.
No, before you even move on to them, excuse me, what do you feel like is for Islam? We're gonna talk about that in 1 second. But for JDM, you're the champion, right? Put yourself in his shoes. You were champion. You haven't lost a fight for 10 years, and then you have a performance like that. You allow somebody who's a lightweight to come up and dominate you in the grappling department, suffocate you, not allow you to get up to your feet. What do you think is next for Jack Della?
Come on now, what you mean? 3 years in Dagestan, man. Forget. Yes, sir. No, you ain't got no choice. I mean, Ilya Topuria said it best. Actually, he actually tweeted right after that fight happened. He said he was highly disappointed in Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I call him, man. You seen him crying out there like a baby. Now, but at the end of the day, Ilya Topuria said it right, though. He was like, you got to you got to get that wrestling down. And like I said, I'm the one that can really understand the feeling what Jack went through because, like I said before, like Usman did the same thing to me. And it's like very, like, I'm telling people, like, it's, to me, I'd rather get knocked out. I'd rather get finished, right? You know what I'm saying? But when you control like that for 25 minutes straight, the dude just better than you, man. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And for me, like I said, like, once we made that adjustment in the 5th round, right? Like, it really showed me the potential of what I could have done from the very beginning.
Sure.
Right? It's just whatever. We just didn't lock in at that time. Once we made them fine adjustments, you told me to make them adjustments with the hips, you know what I mean? Stay, just boot it down,
Change
right?
the levels and
Change
stuff
levels,
like
all that thing, whatever, But it just showed, like, bro, we could have did that from the very beginning. But no, just going back into it, though, you know what I'm saying? It's just like with him and what's next for Jack, it's just being respectful for every guy that's in this weight class. Like, the wrestling is such the key element and recipe to you being a world champion. Because if you don't work on that element, I don't care how good your striking is, how many good finishes you got, if that's one quote-unquote weakness of yours, you're not going to beat the best dude there,
Sure.
So that's just what I would feel, you know what I mean? So that's what I did. We disappeared for a minute, you know what I'm saying? I didn't disappear because I was crying and, you know what I'm saying? Like we went to work.
You had to lock in.
We had to lock in,
of course.
And, like I said, we got a lot of different things that's going on, but it's really going to show people like, damn, this motherfucker really been working on his shit.
No, sure. And you want to jump forward to the welterweight, so I'm fine with that. So with that being said, in the feature bout, you have Michael Morales, who stopped Sean Brady very early in the first round.
Called that one.
You did call that one. What were your thoughts about both of those performances? Give a little bit of a breakdown. Why did you make that prediction, and what led to that finish?
So the Michael Morales and Sean Brady, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I went with Michael Morales in the first place is because just stylistically, right, I just knew that Sean Brady and just who he is as an individual. Not even as a fighter. As a fighter, very talented, very skillful, bro. But he's just mentally weak, bro. He said that himself. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. He said he never believed that he could be world champion until his coach told to me, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have another man to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? For you to believe in yourself. Like, coach, you think I can do it? Like, yeah, buddy, I know you can. You know what I'm saying? So with Sean Brady, it's just like he needs, something for him to always feel, I feel like, confident when he steps out there. Now, he still did it, right? He still was a man enough to step into that octagon. But when it comes to the actual fight, right? And you said it best, right? Like, when you out there and you thinking about not getting hurt, that's when you get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
1,000%. You can't be fearful.
You can't be fearful of it. But when he felt that wind, that gust of wind from Michael Morales coming, like, you just see him just cover up instead of taking that opportunity when you see them big wolves, being thrown, you get underneath that, right? And I don't even know if he got him down one time, if I'm not mistaken.
He didn't.
Yeah, so he didn't, get him down in the fight, which I believe that would have been Sean Brady's best route to victory. But because of that, like I said before, anytime you get knocked out by pillow hands Belal, nigga, I already knew that Michael Morales was just going to get him out of there in the first round because he starts so active. I'm talking about Michael Morales. He's so fast off the gun, out the gate, right? He's a dangerous fighter for anybody in the first round. Be honest with you, the majority of his fights, especially when you're dealing with all these ranked opponents, all been out in the first round, right? Gilbert Burns been out in the first round.
Yeah.
Neil Magny, out in the first round. And now Sean Brady, So with that being said, you got to be able to slow that kid down early,
Yeah, I mean, I was just really surprised. I mean, look, we were talking about this last night, and I don't think I did a good enough job of giving Michael Morales credit. For everything that I thought that Sean Brady failed on, I thought that Michael Morales played everything on his side of the field, so to speak. He did everything to play to his advantage. He got right in Sean Brady's face. He made him uncomfortable every single time he threw punches. He made Sean Brady know that there's a chance that you'll get knocked out. But with that being said, giving credit where credit's due, we also have to talk about Sean Brady, who was ranked, he was the second,
2, bro.
ranked number 2 in the world.
Fought 8.
Very experienced, a very good grappler, and you couldn't see it from his performance. Now, I don't think just part of grappling is just being on top of somebody. Is your ability to set things up and get your opponent to the ground as well. And he looked very uncomfortable. He looked unsure of himself. He looked nervous. He looked shocked by Morales' physicality. And my thing is this: you just stole the words out of my mouth. You fearing being knocked out leads you to being knocked out. It's only when you understand that, yes, I might be knocked out, but I'm willing to take calculated risk, and I have to get inside. There's no chance. If you play the game on the outside, you're for sure going to get knocked out.
100%.
If I come inside, maybe there's a chance that I get knocked out, but there's a chance but there's a chance that I can create chaos and get a takedown. Mm-hmm. And with Morales swinging as big as he does, you leave openings. Not to mention there was a time where they collided and crashed, and Sean Brady did have a little bit of success. I think he made a counter with a couple hooks, and then he didn't go back to his wrestling. He just went out of distance. Mm-hmm. Once you gauge the distance control and you take real estate, you cannot give up the real estate.
Right,
that is a massive mistake by him. So I guess my question, were you more impressed by Michael Morales' ability to get the knockout, or were you more disappointed in Sean Brady's performance?
I can't, because I called it how it was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very impressed by Michael Morales. But, like, for him, he's such a confident young athlete right now, bro, that's on a fucking tear. You talking about, what, 19-0 now or 18-0?
I think 19-0.
Crazy. I'm not gonna lie, like those stats is wild. And the type of fights.
I'll look it up.
Right, and the type of fights that he's been putting on and how he's been finishing a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
19.
I mean?
Like, you got to believe the hype. Definitely that's somebody that I'm very interested, my bad, in fighting. But it's always knew, like, it got to be at the right time.
Sure.
Sean Brady was dumb taking this fight. And not because, obviously, the potential of losing, but my thing, like you said, make these guys work, right? Sure. You put in all this work this whole time to get to where you at. Why bless somebody just with an opportunity just off the jump, And with that being said, like, it's beautiful because for me, I don't have to fight these guys who are underneath me now. They above me, right? Now, when I knock you out, I take what you got. But if I would have knocked him out when he was 8, or when I would have knocked whoever out when they was 9,
people discredited it.
Right, 100, and then fraud check.
Yeah.
Fraud check. There it is. It's not worth nothing. No, now they name it's worth something.
It means
right?
a little bit more.
It means a lot more, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, when I see when I see Michael Morales fight, I just look at it and, you know, I'm like, boy, that's a big, you know, mountain to climb. But he got some holes in that game, man.
There's a lot of openings.
Holes, there's so many, right?
I think that's one thing, too, when you have so much success, there's going to become a time, and we've seen it from everybody, from greats to John Jones to GSP to Mighty Mouse. There's a time where the fight just doesn't go as they usually do. A little bit with Tom Aspinall on that last fight. And I think that there's opportunities, not to say the least. We're going to jump back to Morales in a second because I do want to talk about the title picture of the welterweight division. But for Sean Brady, you know, the same I asked for JDM, and we're going to talk about Leon in a minute too. What do you do after a performance like that? If you were a coach of Sean Brady, what advice do you give him? Because it's not just Dagestan at that point. You need something different, right?
Therapy. Yeah.
He does have a sports psychologist.
Oh, you need to double up on them. Yeah. Because that's the only reason why he lost this fight, man. We're going to keep it a buck, man. That's the only reason why he lost this fight, man. He went in that fight thinking he was going to get knocked out. And that's sad to say that, but it's just the truth. And be honest with you, regardless of if I keep clowning Sean or not, he's talented. Bro. He's a good fighter. He's a good fucking fighter. And it's sad to see people that's good like that and just get wasted away in the first round.
For sure, because, you know, just to put a bow on it, it's not the fact that Morales won that I feel like was somewhat disappointing. It's just that I feel like Sean Brady didn't do the things that he does well. Me and Coach Jeff, we were talking, and Morales did what he wanted to do, but Brady never took opportunities to try to implement his game plan. Same thing with JDM. He never tried to implement his game plan. Right. He was pretty complicit in, you know, playing to his opponent's hands in both of those fights. But to jump forward, Leon Edwards and Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates hands Leon Edwards his first KO loss. Man, tell it 2 rounds. Just give us a breakdown of what was the difference between round 1 and round 2.
You know the difference, bro.
for our viewers, give us the difference between round 1 and round 2.
Man. All right, so look, I had Prates pick for this fight. I didn't think that Leon was gonna get knocked out. Right, I knew it could be a possibility, but I was like, man, Leon just gonna be too good to get touched. But going into that first round, I truly believe like Leon did what was necessary. He put on early pressure, right? You see the little head movement, they little feints, right? I was like, okay, nice. And then out of nowhere, you see him shoot, right? Push Prates up against the cage, get them lungs all heavy, get that heartbeat pumping, you know, because you got to change it up with a dude like Prates. And Leon was doing a very great job at doing that, so he won the first round easily, right? Going into that second round, you know, it was kind of the same, but Leon kind of let that pressure off a little bit, you know, and allowed Prates to start, you know, walking them down, marching them down. Leon started landing some good leg kicks, right, touching them up, you know, but Leon would switch occasionally, right, but not set nothing up. He'd just switch, just to switch. One of them switches came a little too early. Popped him, dropped him.
Hands weren't in the right place and just got caught at the end of that too.
I'm talking about, I ain't never seen a man get levitated off his feet, bro.
The crazy part, he got dropped, he smiled. And then Prates came up to clean him up, and then he stopped smiling. I'm like, damn.
Nah, I had one of them type, when I head kicked Andre Fiallo, had a nigga cheesy. I'm like, nigga, shut your ass. But let me get back to I never seen a man get levitated. Like he Jesus himself, just rising up, bro. On that third Sunday. That's crazy, bro. And you see how Leon first came out, right? With his arms out. I already knew he was going to get put on the cross.
All right. So I'm going to group the other welterweights in just 1 second. But no, for real. For Leon Edwards, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. After going on a massive tear, becoming champion, where does he go from here? What do you think? Because we talked about this before. For him being 34 years old and, you know, kind of being at the later stage of his career, already accomplishing a lot, what do you think he goes from here? Does he try to get back in line and see if he can work his way back to a title, or just try to see if he can do big fights? What would you say? Or hang it up?
Put the fries in the bag, dog. Put the fries in the bag, bro.
You said it's over.
It's over, nigga.
It's over.
All the fries you can give me, dog.
It is what it is, man. For Leon, I like to see him at least come back for one more, see if he can go out on a win. That's the first KO loss. I think it'd be different if he was getting knocked out left and right.
I mean, it's...
No.
He lost in 3 different type of ways. Decision, submitted, knocked out, all back to back is crazy. But yeah, we gonna just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think it's done for Leon, man.
All right, so grouping the welterweights together.
Right. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
With both of those wins that we seen with Prates and Michael Morales, which one do you think has more substance? Which one do you believe pulls the UFC to be like, yeah, you the next guy?
That's tough. Honestly, I feel like neither one did enough for me to want to see them propel over some of the guys.
That's kind of crazy to say that.
No,
when they both not.
No. So for Prates, that would be a 2-fight win streak for him coming off. You see certain guys having to fight 10+ fights to get a title shot. You have Ian Garry, who's only had 1 loss. If he should beat Belal Muhammad, I don't understand how that puts him behind. You have Shavkat. I know he's been out with a knee injury or whatever the case may be. So for them to propel against guys like Belal, so on and so forth, I think that would be a bit weird. But you know how MMA is. It's narrative driven and what have you done for me lately. So if I had to pick between the two, probably Prates. You beat a former world champion, and you did face some adversity. He was able to tie you up and win around cleanly, and you were able to come back and compose yourself and set up the shot. Him smoking cigarettes didn't impact didn't impact his confidence or cardio. So probably Prates. I feel like Morales really just hasn't done enough. Not his fault. You just haven't faced the competition. There's so many names I feel like he could fight.
Like I said, he skipped a lot of people, man, to get to 2.
So if I had to pick. But if you're going back, if you're Islam Makhachev, if you actually are going to fight at welterweight, you're the champion. What do you think makes sense? Do you want to see him fight Prates? You want to see him fight Morales? Is there other opponent? Do you think that that makes sense?
Now I know what the real answer is, but if we just saying in the special world, he claimed that he want Usman next. He claimed that Usman to be a person that he would love to challenge himself against and make for the next fight. But he didn't mention no names other than Usman and other than Topuria.
Yeah, right. Topuria makes no sense. I think Usman, that would be a legacy sort of fight, but I don't think it makes necessarily the most sense. If Belal can beat Ian Garry beats Belal, I feel like they've done more recently. Obviously, I'm not biased against Usman. His performance against us was fantastic, but that's his first win in a row. Let's be honest. But I don't know what's to come. I don't know if Islam will actually compete at welterweight. Maybe he has newfound confidence because he faced 0 problems.
Oh, he ain't go through nothing.
Yeah, he faced 0 problems. So if he gets the right matchup at welterweight, maybe he stays. I don't know. Anyway, going back, we got to talk about the co-main event. We ain't skipping. No, we're not skipping the women. Valentina Shevchenko.
You know I love my girl, Zhang.
Valentina Shevchenko.
A little disappointed, though.
Again, pitched a shutout against Weili Zhang. Was that what you were expecting? I mean, such high anticipation for this monumental fight, and it still was monumental. I still stand by what I said before, feeling like this is the highest level of women's MMA, and Valentina Shevchenko being the GOAT at flyweight, and then Weili making her stamp at strawweight. Did that live up to the hype though?
It sure didn't.
Pause. Okay, you good now. Go ahead. You got some right here.
Which one?
You got some right here. I ain't gonna let you go out like that.
I appreciate it. No, you ain't gotta edit. Thanks. See, that's how you take care of your brother. Don't just be all crazy on camera.
Yeah, we not let that.
But no, man. I love Zhang, but she definitely did not show up in this fight like I thought she would.
Sure.
But obviously, right, you moving up in a different weight class. You fight one of the GOATs herself in that division. So it wasn't gonna be a GOAT. Yeah. Clarissa, don't sue me now. I know I took your word.
Go.
But at the end of the day, I really understand that with Zhang, like, it's some things that she could have done better on her part.
Sure.
That would have gave her a little bit more success. But yet again, she was fighting one of the best in that division, and moving up and taking the challenge. So it just is what it is. But Valentina looked great, man. She dominated in every position, whether that was the striking, whether that was in the clinch, and definitely on the ground by controlling Zhang and not allowing her to be able to get up. And man, that was a flawless victory by Valentina. She made it look easy, bro.
No, for sure. I mean, it was kind of how I expected it. I just thought it would be more of a back and forth. I didn't think that Weili would make it a close fight. I think I said in the previous show, I thought Valentina probably would find a shot to put her away or submit her or something, just because Weili sometimes comes in a bit reckless. You saw that happen a few times. Valentina did an amazing job using those kicks to the body, teeps up front, using the jab. Weili wasn't able to move her. And in order to get inside on a much larger fighter, you have to move their feet. You can't make them, you can't allow them, to be stationary. And Weili did nothing. Every single time she would get halfway in distance, she would throw a big bomb, and Valentina would just counter. And then when she had found those opportunities in those clinches, as we talked about, the person who's taller tends to have leverage on their side, and then also there was a size discrepancy. So that's not where Weili's best work was ever going to be done. And then she just really didn't have an answer for the grappling. But with that being said, no harm in trying. I think I'm happy that it happened, so we know what was to come. We didn't have one of those GSP Anderson of what if. With that being said, for Weili, what do you want her to do? Do you think that she goes back? She didn't answer us, by the way. Joe Rogan asked her like 5 times. She didn't answer at all. But
may have been a translator fault. You don't know.
But do you want to see her continue at flyweight or go back to strawweight?
Yeah, no. She need to go back to strawweight where she belongs. And just continue down the path what she was doing, right? She tried, she went for it, we just seen it before with, Adesanya moving up, right? And that fight didn't go his way. But then he went back to 185 and still, was king of his, of his weight class. So, I think she should do the same thing. Go ahead, get her belt back. Go ahead, get that money. And, just leave Valentina alone.
And then for Valentina, what else is there to do?
That's hard, yeah.
She's already calling names that she already previously competed against.
No, actually, she didn't. She never competed against Natalia Silva. So Natalia Silva, shout out to her, man, because I've been waiting on her to have her little shot. So it was cool to see Valentina because her name recognition, Silva ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like Valentina is the biggest star. So for her to give her that recognition and that love to be like, yeah, pull her on up, get her up because she really ain't got nobody else, I think it was kind of cool. I think it was dope, right? Because as a fighter and as an athlete, right, we want other fighters to see our abilities and to see, the weight of what we've been doing and stacking up for other fighters to respect. But a lot of fighters, they duck that work,
sure,
right? And that's the thing that sucks. But no, Valentina was like, no, I need all that work I can find. And I think Natalia Silva, I think she's nice, man. She great on the feet, but Valentina not going to play with her, bro. She going to put her right on her back, too. But, I would love to see, something, a good fight get made from that, though,
No, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just excited to see her still compete at such a high level. She's getting up to age. She's 37, and you can't tell.
Nope.
She didn't slow down one bit, especially at those lower weight classes. It seems to take a toll. So, congrats to Valentina Shevchenko. For Weili Zhang, I'm sure you'll be back.
She'll be back.
With that being said, man, fight didn't last long. First fight on the main card, we had BSD, Benoit Saint Denis, knocking out Beneil Dariush.
He got a good kick in, though.
He did. It was very entertaining for as long as it lasted.
About 15 seconds.
With that being said, what did you see from that short, explosive fight? I mean, it was not much to break down.
Yeah, no, I think Beneil. I don't know what. It's not that Beneil just fought like that for the first time. Like he done. That's
what he does.
That's what he do. But I feel that was just a little crazy recklessness right there. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Beneil could have put up a way better fight. He really could have.
Sure. I mean, he looked great for the first 5-6 seconds.
For 100%.
Half of the fight, he looked real, looked good.
Crazy. All 5 seconds is crazy. But that calf kick that he landed was definitely some damage on her. But I feel as if Beneil would have kind of like clinched in like dirty box, right?
Sure.
Instead of like because they was swinging in the phone booth.
Oh,
this close, and I mean and it was really like a 50-50 who gonna land first, right? Like anybody could have got knocked out in that exchange. You know what I mean? So you run the risk of doing that. But yet again, it's the fight game, it's the fight business. When you're trying to be entertaining, when you're trying to put on a big, show, because we spoke about it before. When he misses weight, he usually get that 50K.
You're right.
Well,
he's supposed to get the 50K.
Supposed to get the 50K.
Yeah.
But it just didn't go his way in this fight. But you see Benoit, right?
Yep.
Saint Denis, he got that clip. But you reminded me though, so he on a 3-fight winning streak with all finishes right now.
Yep.
All finishes. Yeah, now he back in the picture, bro.
Yeah.
Right back in it.
Man, I mean, I feel like what a way for Benoit to come back after some adversity, to get 3 finishes in a row. I mean, 2 submissions, and then knocking out Dariush, which I thought it was going to end in a knockout. I just thought he would be on the receiving end, so I have to give credit where credit's due. I guess my question is, in fights like this, do we learn anything for, like with that? Does that, when you finish somebody so quickly, is it as impactful as, a knockout like Prates had, where it was like you saw him go through something? Did we learn anything from that fight?
You can't learn much in 15 seconds, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You gotta take some time, you know what I'm saying, to really study something.
Sure.
You ain't gonna learn nothing, because at the end of the day, like I said, that was a toss-up for real. And don't get it twisted, Saint Denis definitely talented, definitely strong. But I would say the only thing that you can get from that is that he's I can't say fighter, because people don't be tripping. Like, he's not afraid to go in that fire, in that flame.
Sure.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, you talking about literally, the bell ring and they already engaging in that type of warfare.
Sure.
You gotta respect that as a fighter and be like, okay, this guy's not afraid to exchange.
Definitely.
So you gotta be careful with that. So with that being said, that's the only thing I feel like you can learn from that. But other than that, it ain't really like no setup from that shit.
No, definitely. But do you feel like that's good enough to prepare him to a title shot?
Yeah. No. I mean, what a performance like that, because like you reminded me of the mother too, because he finished Ruffy, right? Ruffy. And who was the other
Kyle
dude?
Profilak.
I don't know who that is.
But it don't really matter at this point.
But the hype though, right? He beat the hype. And then Beneil Dariush, that ain't no easy lick.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like, yeah, you put him back in the conversation. Even if he don't get an automatic title shot, like, you still get up there with the 5.
Sure.
Top 5
he's up there. And I feel like with Islam moving on from that division, and if Topuria happens to, which I don't think he should, I think, he should.
You keep saying that, bro. They finna make this blockbuster hit, bro.
God, that makes no sense. But if it does indeed happen, I feel like he's right in the mix. Him and Charlie Oliveira, him and somebody for a title definitely would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. For Beneil Dariush, he's getting up there in age. We already know what time it is.
Yeah, I think it's time.
You think it's time for him to?
Yeah, I think there's time. Anytime you get tooted up, bro. Yeah, bro, it's time to go.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad knockout, too, because he was knocked out, basically kissed his knee, kissed the mat, and then he was like, nah, I'm fine. That was a rough one. So, hopefully Dariush comes back. Let's get into some of this prelim coverage, though. We'll go through it rather quickly.
Yeah, man. Let's go through this quick.
We had Bo Nickel knocking out Rodolfo Vieira, able to kind of have his resurgence in his career. Any thoughts on that fight?
Boy, I screamed. Bo had me hollering. Bo did he? That boy. Head kick knockout?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like he could catch Vieira, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking like a little crazy overhand right with this little 5,000 times, and then you just go ahead and clip buddy. But other than that, though, I really did not see that coming. And the way he committed to that kick too, bro.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And turned the hips and everything. I'm like, okay, bro, I see you. I see you did that against the right person for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm very impressed by Bo and how he came back for sure.
Definitely, I think honestly for Bo, for him to show mental fortitude to get back after following a devastating loss, but also just some reality, maybe for Bo Nickel too. This isn't a shot at him, but this is probably the level of competition that you should have been fighting in the first place. I feel like he, wanted to move up so fast where he was over eager and just keep passing tests, continue to gradually move up. I think Patty Pimblett has done a really good job of that, different weight class, but incrementally moving up and not pushing the meter too fast. So congrats to Bo Nickel. We have Gregory Rodriguez, who got a decisive decision over Roman Kopylov. I thought it was a good fight. I wish Kopylov brought a little bit more of that intensity that he's known for. I see you shaking your head. You look disappointed.
It was bad performance, man, by Kopylov. He only turned up in the last 15, 30 seconds of the fight.
I don't know why, man. I feel like just being afraid of being on the bottom with Gregory Rodriguez. He's powerful. He's strong. So with that being said, then we had Blanchfield, she ended up submitting Tracy Cortez. Blanchfield, do you feel like she's not, next in line for that title?
Probably, yeah. Why not? Why not? Yeah,
Makes sense.
Ain't got many names out there now. Yeah.
Malcolm,
Cortez back on the stream.
For sure. Malcolm Wellmaker gets upset by Ethan Ewing.
That's a hard one, man.
It was a good fight.
Oh, yeah.
Good showing by both of them. But, the guy took the fight on like 2 days' notice. You don't have a lot of time to prep. But shout out to Ewing being able to...
Yeah, go out there, I had someone, similar, but, he showed out, I felt as if, Malcolm definitely with his, everything that coming his way, coming off of, 3 knockouts back-to-back in the UFC. He took on, a big challenge and just a random guy, that's hungry and trying to, make a name for himself.
Sure.
But, at the end of the day, Wellmaker be back, So, yeah, shout out to them, man. That was a good-ass fight, man. They could have got fight of the night for real.
Yeah, hell of a fight. We'll just go through these rather quick. Kyle Dawkins, of course, submits GM3. That was a surprise. Joe Marshart, known for his grappling, gets submitted. Kyle Dawkins back in the UFC, like we said.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And being able to get 2 victories back-to-back.
Shout out to that, man. Shout out to that. I got to respect that.
Shout out him. Pat Sabatini gets his revenge over Chepe Marzakal. I always pronounce his name wrong, but hell of a fighter. They fought previously, I guess, on a regional circuit, and Sabatini was able. He did face some adversity, but able to get that revenge. Fatima Klein overwhelmed Angela Hill. Then
you just running through them bitches, boy.
I mean, it is what it is. We got a couple other things to get to. Vysingar Susakayev KO'd Eric Makaniko. That was a hell of a head kick knockout, if I believe. It was a head kick, wasn't it?
I probably missed that one.
I don't remember if it was a head kick, but it was a knockout. It was a great knockout. I did watch it. Then Mateus Camillo defeated Vasily Borshilev decision. Let's put a stamp on this card. Final takeaways before we end. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, like I said, the biggest takeaway, bro, is that it was definitely a 170s show out with, JDM and Islam, definitely fighting for that throne. Islam going out there and taking it with pretty much no resistance. And I really feel as if Islam really doesn't understand the threats that he has, or in the weight division, because yet again, JDM, cool and all, never lost whatever while he was in there, but yet again, he fought the best stylistic matchup.
Sure.
For him, and I'm gonna keep saying that.
I agree.
But now we got 2 new, in Prates and Michael Morales, highly ranked, on a tear, both finishers, within the division. And I really feel like, they definitely going to make some noise. And there's going to be a lot of guys still at that 1, 2, and 3 level.
Sure.
That's not going to really want to fight him. Yes, I understand that Michael Morales is number 2, but number 1 ain't going to fight him. The champ ain't going to fight him. And I really feel like they still going to need one more before they get the title. And guess what? Buck is here to bless them. Either one of them, And I truly believe that is going to be a good way to kind of show and solidify their position that they should fight for the title next. Not because of my namesake, but yet again, let them keep showing up and being able to prove that they are championship worthy.
Sure.
In my opinion.
No, I agree with that. Kind of taking a step back from that card, but something related. Let's talk about Dillon Danis versus the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what Daniel called
You don't mess with no Muslims, boy. They be devoted for real about they guys. Boy, you don't mess with no Muslims.
So were you able to see that interaction? Of course, I know, we were shooting live, we were doing some stuff, but were you able to see anything on Dillon Danis getting...
Nah, I seen it go viral. Seen it go viral, going crazy. I couldn't really spot out where Dillon Danis was. I don't even think the Muslims was really jumping on him. I think he got up out of there. It was like, damn, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? They got up out of there, but they realized he was the one that started that whole... that whole brawl,
sure.
Right? Because whatever that Dana was saying, they said he had assigned seating down there, right?
Sure.
Because I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't even think he was even allowed to even be in there in the first place with the whole situation that even happened with Conor McGregor and Khabib back in the day. So I didn't even know they allowed Dillon Danis already in the UFC. But regardless, though, he was there, had his little ticket and everything. But they said he was hopping in seat to seat. You know what I'm saying? Playing around, trying to get closer and closer to people. Just trying to go viral, right? And Malfi Dog said, man, if I see this dude get next to me, I'm going to knock his ass out, right? I think somebody else said it too. Like, I'm going to knock his ass out if you get too close to me. So he didn't got too close to the wrong person and made a brawl just pop off, But I just feel like Dillon Danis, bro, just keep taking these L's back to back, you know what I'm saying? Because this ain't the first time. Like, he already got jumped by a little security guard outside the club, got choked out. some boxer, whatever, went viral, knocked his ass silly. You know what I'm saying? And now he got jumped by the NOI. You know what I'm saying? That shit crazy. So, that's wild, man.
Nah, it is nuts just to see like him saying all the stuff that he was saying before, and now you can't even go to the UFC event. So for him, I just don't understand kind of what's the end goal here. Of course, go viral, do little things like that, but it seems like he's just consistently hurting himself in lieu of clicks and views. You know what I mean? Like, so now he's banned from all UFC events. Then it was like I fucked up. So I don't know what's next for Dillon Danis or this.
And the PFL, nigga, that's what's next. What you thought this was? Yeah.
All right. Also, we got you competing soon, November 29th, which is actually my birthday. You will be competing in Chicago versus Pat Downey in RFA Wrestling.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a dope
RAF or RFA?
RAF.
RAF.
Yep. The Real American Freestyle.
Yeah, excuse me.
All good. No, this is a big deal for me because, like I said, bro, I just want to prove not only to fuck everybody, bro. I'm looking to prove to myself, that like I can compete with some of the best around, no matter what you talking about, what discipline, whether it's wrestling, boxing, you know what I mean, fucking jiu-jitsu, right? I always want to compete at the highest level in my field, but why not do it and get paid for it?
Sure.
Right? Like that's the awesome part. So I really feel like this is a great way for me to stay in shape, be able to still be competitive and compete, but go out there and yet again and just show, myself, that hey, bro, I'm also that guy. Obviously he's a pure wrestler,
Sure.
and he got great weapons when it comes to like the clinch and the throws and shit like that. But Buck got something special for him, you know what I mean? And I know I have a lot of different things that I used to do back in the day that gave a lot of guys trouble, So, and I trained with high level guys before with Jaden Cox, man, with Nick Simmons, So, but a lot of people don't know those stories. And I really truly believe that I get to show that come November 29th.
All right,
in Chicago.
How do people get tickets? Where do they go to watch?
I don't know nothing about that. So you better go on Instagram, go on their profile page and go look for that, But it's gonna be like right after Thanksgiving. Get out there,
Saturday.
So I'm gonna eat good because it's at 2:05. And Buck been working on his muscle game, a little bit, been drinking my muscle milk, and building up on my side. But I'm gonna make sure this Thanksgiving I'm eating good. Because Pat ain't no small man.
No, he's a big guy.
He's a big boy.
He's competing in MMA a little bit too, hasn't he?
And we seeing how that works. We gonna keep it wrestling.
Yeah.
We gonna keep it wrestling, Pat. We gonna keep it wrestling. We ain't gonna worry about that.
All right, let's take a look at the next fight night. You have Arman Tsarukyan fighting Dan Hooker, and then another big fight on that card. You have Ian Garry versus Belal Muhammad.
That's the same night.
Yeah, same night.
So that's who the co-main?
That's the co-main event. So
who the co-main?
Arman Tsarukyan is the main event.
What?
Yeah, I know, kind of surprising, right? But I don't think Belal necessarily.
That's correct.
No offense. I don't think he gets the attention. I think he's a hell of a fighter, but I don't know if he necessarily gets the attention that other people do. But we can just keep it short and sweet on this one. And Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. How do you see that fight going?
Well, let me ask you. It only makes sense. This is a 3-rounder or a 5-rounder for the co-main? Because it ain't for no belt.
I feel like it's got to be it doesn't say right here, but I feel like it's got to be just a 3-rounder.
Okay.
But for the main event, how you think that fight will go for Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker?
I ain't gonna lie, man. Dan Hooker turned me into a fan, low key, man. He turned me into a little fan, bro. I'm hoping he can keep the fight on his feet. Something like when he fought Ganrot, and really kind of landed some good damage, making it hard for Ganrot. Hoping he can do the same. But yet again, it's levels to everything, right? Arman Tsarukyan, we ain't seen him in a minute since that little back injury that he had. He was twirling for Nina and shit, going crazy. So, we gonna see what he been working on because Arman don't really show a lot of his training footage, which I can respect, right?
Smart.
It's smart, yeah. So he's been showing a lot of just little goofy videos and, just trolling almost, right, himself. So, no, I'm very intrigued to see what happens in this fight. But, yeah, let me see Dan Hooker do something with this.
Sure. I'm excited for it. I think Arman Tsarukyan is somebody who I've wanted to see compete for the title for a long time. Kind of ended up playing himself, get himself out of it. Now Islam has moved on to a completely different weight class. But I think a lot of people sometimes forget how talented Arman Tsarukyan is due to, you know, him in the Nina situation, as you said, twirling and spinning, and, you know.
I like the way you be
all that.
You scraping and scrambling.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people forget he's a very, very talented fighter.
Right.
I want to see him eventually challenge for a belt. I mentioned the title picture at 155. I forgot about Arman Tsarukyan. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for him to reassert himself. And for Dan Hooker, who's revitalized his career and been on a winning streak, you know, if he can put away Gamrot and then put away Tsarukyan, man, that'd be a hell of a feather in his cap, and he'd be right in line for a title. I don't really have a pick on this one. If I had to lean, probably Tsarukyan, but, you know, I'm just excited to watch. I think this fight cannot be boring. Because I don't think you've ever seen Dan Hooker in a boring fight.
No, he never been in a boring fight.
And then we'll talk about Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry.
Ooh.
This is your weight class. You know these guys both a little bit. We were in line to fight Ian Garry when things got shuffled around and then the Kobe fight ended up happening. And then Belal, obviously, former champ at welterweight. How do you see this fight going?
I mean, they really got to play their game. And whoever plays their game the best is going to get the win. So with that being said, with Ian Garry, we know with him, you know, he's the type of fighter that wants to point fight, right? He wants to stay to the outside. He wants to skate back and forth, use those long legs to teep, them short jabs, right? Really, you know, pop in your face, but to kind of keep you at a distance the whole time, right? But on the other hand, with Belal, you know, Belal has to find his way in, you know, and it may be difficult in the first 2 rounds, but I believe that Ian Garry will eventually slow down, and Belal eventually gonna get his hands on him. But don't get it twisted. I don't believe like Belal is like of a level of a Kamaru Usman or Islam when it comes to the wrestling, but he's good enough, right, to create some damage, right, and make those shots worth, you know, draining Ian Garry. You know what I mean? So if it do get back up to the feet, you know what I'm saying? Like Ian Garry gonna feel that. You know, so with that being said, it's just like who gonna implement their game plan first? And I'm gonna have to really, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna go with Ian Garry on this one, you know. And if it's a 3-rounder for sure, but if it's a 5-rounder, it's just Ian Garry just gonna have to play it smart. You know, because yet again, he's having a lot of these close fights.
Sure. Very
close fights. Like he's just edging the win type shit. But with Belal, you're gonna really have to kind of beat him decisively, if that makes sense. To me, right? Like,
I agree 100% what you're saying. Here's the thing. I think this fight is very interesting.
Jack fight.
I mean, he thought he was Canelo. He thought he was Bud Crawford. He's going to return back to Batman, right? I've used this analogy so many times.
Go ahead and break it down for the ones that don't understand.
I consider Belal Muhammad to be virtually Batman. No special powers, no special ability. You think about speed, you think about power, you think about quickness, you think about best wrestling, you think about best jiu-jitsu, best boxing, best kickboxing. I don't know if he's the best Muhammad in his family. But here's the thing I will say. If you have a deficiency or a hole in your game, Belal's were the greatest at exploiting that hole in deficiency. And Jack Della.
I don't know if he's the best Muhammad in the family, and that's probably the truth. Like a motherfucker, anyway.
With that being said, against JDM, he did the exact opposite. I think he fought with ego and not strategy. He fought emotionally. And he actually had a pretty decent account for himself against somebody who was supposedly the best boxer in the division. I think he takes a step back. Whatever Ian Garry's deficiency in holes are in his game, I think he will try to exploit that. Do I have a pick? It's a tough one. Flip a coin because you've seen Belal kind of struggle against these really good strikers. Against Jeff Neal, against Vicente Luque, he did avenge some of these, you know. But my point being, I think Ian presents a lot of problems, but I think he's going to go back to being a booty warrior. I take the safe pick, Belal by decision.
Okay. We got to look up whether it's a 3-round or a 5-round. I believe this might be a 5-round fight.
If it's a 5-rounder, I really favor Belal in that fight. If Ian can't put him out, because, you know, I think Belal knows how to win a championship-style fight. You know what I mean? I feel like that favors him.
Okay. Yeah, I like that, man. You know, and then that's the thing about these two. It's just like, no matter who beat who, it don't catapult them nowhere. And that's for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
crazy.
If Ian can knock out Belal, I feel like he would be right in line.
He got to knock him out, though.
That's the thing. But that's
who last nigga he knocked down?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Only because of Morales and Prates performances, he needs a knockout. I think if they would have had boring fights, Ian Garry would have been right in line. And then for Belal, he needs a miracle. He really no for real because nobody really wants to see him win. I don't say nobody. He has fans, but what I'm saying is I think a lot of people would rather the young blood come up, Prates, and Morales, some of these guys, and we've already seen him be a champion. People don't think he was exciting in the first place. So for me, I feel like he needs a miracle. He needs to finish Ian Garry, and that's not necessarily his style. Some other good fights on there. We won't cover them all, but you know.
Well, yeah, highlight.
Yeah, I'll highlight a couple. You got Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Minifield. You got Jack Hermanson versus Maitek Orbal. Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev.
Yeah, they all sound fun. I ain't gonna lie to
you. Yeah, it's some good fights.
I can't really break them down.
You know, I really flip a coin on a lot of those. That sound good for this episode?
That sounds
all
good,
right,
bro.
Let's wrap it up. Thank you for watching another episode of Brick Brothers Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, be a brick.